everybody, it's Nicole here today. I'm going to share with you how I made some feathers for this page here. Feathers are a new trend that's been on the internet quite a bit, so I just thought I would share with you how I made feathers like this and another kind of feather that you can make with Jillibean Soup paper to add to your project. Okay, so let's get started. Here's some examples of the two feathers that we'll be making. The first one is a feather that I drew out onto some Jillibean Soup paper. This is from the apple cheddar soup. Both feathers actually are from the apple cheddar soup line. And you can see that it's hard to tell, but it's on a wood grain paper. And I've just drawn it out and cut it out. This one here is a bit more fringed. You can see that it's really easy. It's going to be really easy to do. It's just a lot of fringing done for the feather. Okay, so let's get started. I've already kind of started ahead of time, and all I've done is gotten some scrap pieces of paper. I really want to try making a green feather. This one's from the Grandma's Lima Bean Soup. So what I've gone ahead and done, I'm not sure if you can see this, is I've just drawn out kind of like a leaf shape on the back of my paper. I drew the stem in the middle, and then I drew a kind of like an oval oblong leaf shape on the back, and that's what we're going to use to cut out for our feather. So let's start with that one first. So I'm just going to go ahead and just really roughly cut this out. And once you fringe the feather, which is the first one we're going to be doing, you know, if you do it really rough, it's totally not going to matter because the fringing will hide some of that mistake. So let's get rid of my mess here. So all you need to do now is, you can see my shape, is you're going to want to fringe this. So if you have a pair of fringe scissors, that would be super great. That will make this project way quicker. But if not, just a pair of handy sharp scissors is fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut in really thin strips all the way down the middle of the feather or leaf shape. But I'm going to leave that open stem, I'm going to call it a stem, in the middle because I don't want it to cut all the way through. So I'm going to do that on both sides, so here we go. Okay, so there's my finished leaf. You can see that I actually cut off the bottom. That's what happens when you go too fast and you don't watch what you're doing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to fold it over and I'm just going to bend it into the middle. That's just to give it a little more shape. If you're really careful that you didn't cut too close, you could twist it a little. That would give it a little more shape as well, just to add some three-dimension to your page. If you like the look of some missing parts to your feather, you can certainly just rip out a couple odd little fringes here and there, just to add a little, to make it more lifelike. And that's it. You could, if you wanted to, you could do two of these and bind them together with some adhesive, putting some wire in the middle, which would help you manipulate it a little bit more. But I kind of just like the paper look. On my page, I actually sewed, of course, a stitch up the middle, just to give that stem, but otherwise that's your finished feather from the fringe. Okay, so now that we've made our fringed flowers, these are, or feathers, sorry, these are the fringe ones. Now we're going to go ahead and make one like I did on my page, and that's more of a drawn out one. So all I did is I honestly had a picture of a feather that I found on the internet, and I just had it on my computer screen. And I mean, if you have tracing paper, you could print it out onto something like that and certainly trace it, but I just drew my center, I'm going to call it a stem, and then I just went from there. And what I did was I just started at the top and I kind of made like a curved edge with some notches all the way along to create the I don't know, the fringe of the feather, I guess you could say. So I just kind of randomly drew it, slowly angling it more towards the middle. Again, doing the same thing like we did in the first feather, whereas it's kind of like an oval oblong kind of shape. And so all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. And what I like about the craft cardstock is, first of all, Jillibean Soup has so many great craft lines that you could use scraps and bits from, or you can just use their plain craft cardstock. But you can do a lot to it. Like you could stamp this feather with a pattern stamp. You could, you could mist it, which is what we're gonna do, or you could just leave it the way it is, which is really pretty because the craft works really good for the feather. I tried a few different papers and I really like the look of the craft myself the best, so that's what I used on my page. Now, I don't have an eraser, but obviously you could erase your pencil lines, so that's my cutout feather. See if you can see that. It's my cutout feather. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to mist it. I just have some gold mist here. Any kind of gold mist would be great, but one of the new things right now is gold. Gold is really hot, so what I thought I would do is just add a little bit of extra to my feather, and I'm just going to go ahead and give it a couple squirts of mist, and then my center, put it over. You can rub it around in your mist even a little more if you wanted. And I'm going to let that dry, and once it dries, it's going to turn into a really nice shimmery gold feather. And what I do, again, like I did with the fringed feather, is I'm just going to bend it. I'll show you on this one that's dry. Just bend it again in the middle to make it a little more natural looking. You could curve up some of these cut pieces a little bit. And again, I sewed mine on my page. So here's a couple close-up shots of my layout. Here's my layout again that I did with the feathers. And I'll put a couple close-up shots in the video so you can see too. So just a really quick, easy tip for you how to get some of those trending feathers on your page. Hope you enjoyed the video and see you again. Bye-bye.